Phase 1. The six-figure peasant. Listen, that is the dull, heavy thud of a 12-year-old Toyota Corolla door shutting in a corporate parking lot. It is surrounded by a sea of gleaming, freshly waxed Range Rovers and aggressively leased German engineering. To the untrained eye, the owner of the Toyota is the loser of this concrete jungle, the man left behind. But the untrained eye is financially illiterate. That man is the only person on this entire block who actually owns his time. The rest? They are indentured servants wearing tailored suits, properties of their respective banks. Welcome to the greatest illusion of the modern economic system, the absolute lie that high income is synonymous with actual wealth. Society has meticulously hardwired you to believe that financial freedom is locked behind a monolithic gate, and the only key is a stratospheric salary. You are told that unless you are pulling in $200,000 a year, sitting on a corporate board, or inheriting a trust fund, you are destined to scrape by. This is by design. The system needs you to equate your self-worth with your paycheck, and more importantly, it needs you to spend that paycheck to prove your worth to strangers. We have created an entire class of people who are mathematically broke but aesthetically rich, the premium poor, the six-figure peasants. They earn top-tier money, but that money is merely a tourist. It makes a brief, fleeting pit stop in their checking accounts on the 25th of every month before being immediately wired out to mortgage lenders, auto financiers, and luxury credit card companies. They are high-velocity cash conduits, retaining absolutely nothing. They confuse cash flow with net worth, ignoring the ruthless mathematics of solvency. Think about the basic arithmetic of ruin. If you earn $250,000 a year, but your bloated, socially validated lifestyle costs $249,000 to maintain, your true wealth generation is a negligible $1,000. Your margin of error is zero. You are exactly one unexpected medical bill or one corporate restructuring away from total financial collapse. You are not rich. You are highly stressed and heavily leveraged, a prisoner in a golden cage of your own making. So, we must ask the uncomfortable question. What is the invisible flaw in the matrix? What is the hidden mechanical glitch that allows a high school janitor with a flat, stagnant median salary to quietly retire at 60 with a net worth infinitely larger than the prestigious, debt-drowning neurosurgeon living in the sprawling McMansion just across the street? The answer is not a lottery ticket, nor is it a complex hedge fund strategy reserved for the elite. The answer lies in understanding the true nature of the game. Wealth is not what you see. Wealth is precisely what you do not see. It is the unbought cars, the unpurchased diamonds, the skipped upgrades. The six-figure peasant looks at a high salary as a license to inflate their existence. They treat their income as a scoreboard, a public declaration of competence. But the silent millionaire views income entirely differently. To them, a salary is simply raw material. It is unrefined ore. Its only purpose is to be mined, extracted, and immediately converted into income-producing assets that work while they sleep. They refuse to pay the vanity tax, opting instead to buy the only luxury that actually matters, their own future freedom. You get the promotion. The email hits your inbox. An extra $30,000 a year. For exactly 4 minutes, you feel like you have finally won. But society has a contingency plan for your success. It's called the upgrade architecture. The moment your income breaches a new threshold, an invisible tax is levied against your ego. You suddenly look at your perfectly functional apartment and decide it's beneath your new title. You look at your paid-off sedan and suddenly notice the road noise. You don't upgrade your life because you need to. You upgrade because the system demands that your visible consumption perfectly matches your new tax bracket. And here is a truth that most people will take to their graves without realizing. We do not buy luxury goods because we genuinely appreciate the engineering or the thread count. We buy them to artificially enforce a hierarchy in a corporate ecosystem where we feel fundamentally powerless. That is your brain on the hedonic treadmill. You are running a marathon where the finish line automatically moves 10 miles back every time you get a raise. The primary antagonist here isn't the credit card company. It is your own peer group. It is the localized arms race of the upper middle class. You make $150,000, but so do the other managers in your division. So you all naturally gravitate toward the same overpriced zip codes. You all lease the same mid-sized European SUVs. You become trapped in a self-policing community of high-earning, cash-poor inmates, all silently enforcing the rules of the luxury maze. The cheese isn't the leather seats. The cheese is the brief nod of validation from a neighbor you secretly despise. But maintaining this illusion requires a staggering amount of biological energy. You work 60 hours a week. Your cortisol is chronic. So, when Friday night hits, you buy a $200 dining experience because you need to physically ingest a reward for your suffering. Retail therapy is the ultimate coping mechanism for the corporate slave. You justify the luxury by telling yourself, I work hard, I deserve a nice life, but you are really trading the permanent autonomy of your future for a temporary dopamine hit to survive the weekend. You think the promotion was your ticket out, but the promotion was just the bait to move you into a much more expensive Phase 2, the silent ego tax. Let's look at the actual mechanics of this trap. Lifestyle creep is not a sudden explosion. It is a slow carbon monoxide leak. It kills your wealth softly, a few $100s at a time. It starts with upgrading your grocery store. Then you stop looking at prices on the menu. Then you outsource your chores because your job drained your life force. You are paying a premium to recover from the stress of earning the money in the first place. It is a closed loop. The environment that pays your salary engineers your exhaustion, ensuring you spend that salary on coping mechanisms. You are a high-flow valve. Millions of dollars will pass through your hands over the course of a career, but the friction of your lifestyle ensures absolutely none of it sticks. The walls are painted gold, but the doors are locked from the outside. And the only way to realize you are trapped is to stop looking at your paycheck and start looking at the ruthless gravity of your math. Let's strip away the emotion and look at the brutal, unsympathetic mechanics of opportunity cost. The financial industry wants you to look at a price tag and see a static number. You see a $2,000 monthly lease for a luxury European SUV and think, I can afford that out of my monthly paycheck. But you aren't paying $2,000. You are bleeding future equity from a wound you actively refuse to bandage. Let's compare our high-earning corporate manager to the invisible janitor. The manager gets a raise and immediately upgrades his life. A nicer zip code, a faster car, a premium gym membership he barely uses. He inflates his monthly burn rate by exactly $2,000. He feels successful. But mathematics has no empathy. It doesn't care about your prestigious job title, how exhausted you are on a Friday night, or how much you feel you deserve a reward. It only respects the relentless compounding of retained capital. That is a fundamental law of economic physics. Now look at the janitor. He makes a flat, unremarkable median salary. But he does the one thing the six-figure peasant refuses to do. He embraces the absolute boredom of the index fund. He lives quietly and aggressively, funnels just $500 a month into a broad market portfolio. He doesn't look at it. He doesn't trade. He just lets it sit in the dark, doing the heavy lifting while he sleeps. Fast forward 30 years. The janitor, the man society deemed a financial failure, is sitting on close to $800,000 in liquid, tax-advantaged equity. He can walk away from the workforce whenever he wants. The manager. Over those same 3 decades, he burned his extra $2,000 a month on lifestyle maintenance. He bought depreciating metal and temporary dopamine hits. If that manager had simply suppressed his urge to flex, if he had driven a reliable, used sedan and lived in a normal neighborhood and invested that $2,000 a month, he would have over $3 million. The actual cost of his luxury SUV wasn't the sticker price. The true cost was $3 million of unrecoverable freedom. He didn't buy a premium driving experience. He bought a 30-year sentence in a high-stress corporate prison. And that is the core of the illusion. You think you're climbing a prestigious ladder, but you are just running faster on an expensive stainless steel wheel. The lending institutions engineered the maze, and your fragile ego keeps taking the cheese. You are literally paying the system a premium to keep you trapped. The tragedy isn't that you are broke. The tragedy is that you earned enough money to buy your freedom 3 times over, and you willingly traded it for the fleeting approval of people who do not care about you. You are terrified of looking poor, so you guarantee that you will never actually be rich. The math is terminal. If you do not stop the leak, you will work until your physical body fails. But there is an alternative, a way to short-circuit the trap, disappear from the radar, and build an empire in the shadows. Phase 4. The Invisibility Protocol. Welcome to the architecture of the invisible. We call it stealth wealth. But it is much more than just hiding your money. It is the active, deliberate rejection of social relevance. The system demands that you perform your success. It wants you to wear your credit limit on your wrist and park your debt in the driveway. Why? Because visible money is trapped money. The moment you signal to the world that you are moving up the socioeconomic ladder, you become a premium target for extraction. Here is a fundamental truth about the modern economy. The need to be perceived as successful is the single most expensive psychological disease a human being can contract. The people who actually win this game don't play for applause, they play for autonomy. Look back at the man in the 12-year-old Toyota Corolla from our corporate parking lot. The 6-figure peasant pities him. The corporate manager looks down on him from the leather seat of a leased Rover. But the man in the Toyota is experiencing a level of psychological peace that the manager cannot even fathom. He is a financial ghost. He wakes up on a Tuesday morning knowing that his index funds are quietly compounding, indifferent to the office politics, immune to the corporate restructuring, and insulated from the macroeconomic panic. He doesn't need his boss to like him. He doesn't need the bank to approve him. He has bought the only asset that actually matters, the permanent option to walk away. You must reprogram your entire reward system. You must learn to extract deep, visceral pleasure from being completely underestimated. Let them think you're broke. Let the neighbors whisper about your outdated wardrobe. Let the car salesman dismiss you when you walk onto the lot. Their perception is their problem. Your reality is an expanding fortress of liquid equity. When you stop bleeding capital to manage the insecurities of other people, you suddenly have an endless supply of ammunition to buy back your own life. The maze is strictly designed to punish the flamboyant. The rats who run the loudest, who wear the brightest collars, are the ones who get exhausted the fastest. They are the ones who drown in the interest rates because they confuse the cheese with the cage. The cheese is the vanity. The cage is the 30-year mortgage on a house you only bought to host parties for people you secretly hate. Phase 5. The ultimate financial ghost. True wealth is silent. It is the unread email. It is the declined meeting. It is the absolute, unshakable confidence of knowing exactly what your time is worth and refusing to sell it at a discount to pay off a credit card company. You don't become a millionaire on a median salary by finding a magical investment loophole. You do it by starving your ego. You do it by treating every single dollar of your paycheck as a mercenary, deploying them into broad market index funds and letting them fight a 30-year war on your behalf while you sleep. You must realize that the finish line isn't a luxury item. The finish line is the day you wake up and realize your money makes more money than you do. That is the mathematical definition of escape velocity. The corporate ladder is a distraction. The real game is happening in the shadows, in the boring, repetitive, unsexy accumulation of assets that nobody else can see. So, look around you. Look at the shiny metal, the tailored suits, the desperate flexes of a deeply leveraged middle class. They are all drowning in high definition. If you want to survive, you have to turn off the screen. Stop playing their game. Disappear into the background. Let them have the status. You take the equity. If you want to stay in the cage, keep scrolling. Go watch another video about morning routines or how to manifest success. Let the algorithm feed you more bait. But if you're actually ready to break the lock, hit the like button, subscribe, and join the ones who are quietly dismantling the machine from the inside. If you made it this far, drop a comment saying, "Depreciating metal." Everyone else will think you're insane, but will know you are awake. My name is Daniel Rath, and I'll see you outside the maze.